I got involved with Come See Me in the Good Light in a very serendipitous way. I was a big fan of Andrea Gibson's poetry, and I happened to be in Colorado, in Denver, during a time when they were giving these sort of like final 2 shows of their career. And I went just as a fan to the show, which was the only time I've ever bought a ticket to see a spoken word artist in a rock venue, and it felt like a rock concert. It was wild. And I saw Glennon Doyle and Abby Wambach there. And so we had known each other from their podcast, and we were chatting about how much we love Andrea. And then a couple weeks later, I got an email from Glennon and Abby asking if I wanted to join a sort of small team of executive producers and help get this film kind of delivered to the world, you know, incubated by highly curated people who really love Andrea. For people who don't know who Andrea is, they were the poet laureate of Colorado, just an extraordinary prophet of words and spirit, and they were diagnosed with terminal cancer about 4 years prior. And this documentary follows sort of the last year of their life, and it's just an extraordinary adventure. So I joined the executive producing team, and then got to collaborate on a film for the end credits with Brandi Carlile and Andrea themselves. So it was a really, really special collaboration, something really close to my heart. Andrea's poetry spoke to me for so many reasons, but one of the main things about their work is that they have a sort of extreme sensitivity to the darkness. They had a long period in their life where they were dealing with lots of thoughts of self-harm, extreme depression, anxiety riddled, and there is this tremendous capacity to love life in spite of all of that. And I just think that I'm someone who deals with a lot of depression, anxiety, and have to manage mental health pretty carefully. And I was just so moved by their ability to move into these dark spaces and still sort of elicit this feeling of great reverence and love for what is hard about being alive too. That you can love something that is difficult, that you can love something that is painful, that you can love something that is uncomfortable. And so it was just, and they are so fucking funny. They are so funny. Just one of the most charming people I ever got the pleasure to know in my life. It's just a real gift. So for this collaboration, Andrea and Ryan White, the director of the documentary, had been discussing trying to create an original poem that would be featured in the film itself. So Andrea had been sort of gathering snippets of lines and couplets and had some unfinished work that was in process. And then I think sort of by the time we were on board and the film was racing to the finish line and trying to get it into Sundance, and it just felt like the right time for the baton pass, because I think Andrea also needed to just focus on their health and treatments, and health was in a challenging spot at that time. So yeah, I started writing the song after I watched the first full screener of the film, and I was just gobsmacked, could not get over how beautiful I think this film is, and started writing kind of the scaffolding for the song, and then sent a first draft to Brandi, and then we went back and forth, and but it was all, I would say it's probably 85 to 90% Andrea's poems as the lyrics. So I did some what connecting language, and had a line here or there, but really what I think is so brilliant about the song, what is so brilliant about the song is Andrea, really. The making of this film, they were really creating this film with the question mark of whether or not Andrea would be alive to see the screening. So the fact that Andrea was still with us at the time of going to Sundance, we all knew how sort of precious that was. And it was really tender. That weekend was really tender. It was, a lot of feeling. And Andrea, we all stayed in a house together. It was Tig Notaro and her wife Stephanie, and other producers on the film, and Glennon and Abby and myself and Meg Fally, who's Andrea's partner, and so it felt like a weekend retreat kind of, but we just happened to be at this big film festival. But there was just a lot of feelings happening. We were, up late and talking about life and death, and all of our deepest fears, and laughing, and I felt it was one of those moments where I couldn't get over how lucky I felt to be in the room. Like, how did I get the great blessing of being a part of this little team? And I was sat next to Andrea at the premiere, and I just cried and cried and cried and cried and cried. It was just incredible. It's won so many audience awards. Like, I'm telling you, people fucking love this movie, and I have nothing to do with why the movie is so amazing. That's Andrea and Meg and Ryan, and that's the people who made the movie. But this movie is undeniable. It's one of the most life-affirming, joyful, funny, resonant, brave pieces of cinema that I've ever seen. Being in the part of the process now where we're promoting this film and talking about Andrea's work without them on this earth anymore is profound and very, in my reflection on just the impact of what their work has meant to me personally, I feel like Andrea was a prophet. I feel like they sort of came with this extraordinary mission of sharing their vulnerability and their fears and their love and their joy, like on behalf of other people getting to learn from them and getting to learn like how to love the world, how to love each other, it's about how to love. And I think it's profound. It's just a really extraordinary experience. I cherish the fact that I got to meet this person in my lifetime. I've gone through a lot of loss in the last 5 years. I've lost 2 other very, very dear friends, and it's like such a gift to get close to mortality and then still have life in front of you. It feels like every day just feels like what a lucky thing to have today. And that's how the film ends, is Andrea just marveling at like how incredible to be here at all. It's just a crazy miracle that we take for granted all the time. I'm working on a really uplifting record right now, all about grief. As I said, I've gone through a lot of loss in the last 5 years, and as have a lot of people. And so for me, I just sort of had to go towards that kind of through line. So I'm making a really feely record, and I'm working on a couple of new musicals. So I'm juggling a good little bit here. I just got married. I'm having a birthday. There's a lot going on, a lot to be grateful for.